So today is going to be the long anticipated video that I cannot believe that I get to film. I am so happy, excited, still in shock, disbelieved that I could make this video. I'm very excited to share with you all my weight loss journey and my weight loss story. So as you might have been seeing in the past few videos, I've had a few comments and you guys have noticed that over the past few months I have been losing some weight. And naturally there's questions that come with it, people just concerned, people saying you look great, you know, just everything about it. And I just first of all want to thank you all who have commented or said something, because it just makes me, when I read those comments, I just think, oh my god, like, people are noticing. That's amazing. And obviously you guys watch me, you've been watching me, some of you have been here for years and years and years, and it's really, really amazing to see that you see that it's happening, so it really motivates me to continue to do this. So I thought, what better way than to address it and talk about it than do the video, of course. So I put it out on my Instagram that I was making this and my Snapchat, and I asked you guys if there was any certain areas that you'd like to see and everything about this, and I have got a few responses. Obviously people want to see what I've been eating and just general tips and tricks, and I have included those all in this video. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Just to start off with, I have to make the disclaimer in this video, as is with any sort of video that involves sort of a change or anything like that. This is my story, this is how it happened for me. I'm not promoting this and say you have to do this for it to happen. Everybody's body is different, some people lose weight very easily, some people can't, it's a lot harder. So this is just my story, my journey. I'm not a pro, and I'm not prompting any of these tips as such, apart from obviously the last ones that I really will tell you are tips. But don't be like me. I was, you know, my story is very unique. Something happened in my life, and it's just, don't follow like my actions or anything. This is just my story, and I will give you tips at the very end. I might be looking down a couple of times just because I've got my notes here, because I filmed this video before and it was very all over the place, and I want to keep it like sort of straight into the point. Time frame of me losing this weight has been 6 months, and in that time I have lost, I can't believe,
7:30.
Sorry. And in that time I have lost 26 kgs on average. So I go in kgs because I was brought up in an international school, so we go by the American kg system. In England I know you go by pounds, and then I know in the US you go by like stone, is it? Or vice versa. No, stone here, pounds in the US. But I've lost 26 kg. I'll put the conversions in the description box for you or on the screen of what it is in those different weights. So for me that is hugely significant. And my new dress size is a UK12/14. So now the only real reason for me, you know, to make that sound great is to know what I was before. So just a little background history on me. I've always been a bigger girl. From when I was about 14 till I was 20, my weight was in the high 90 kgs or the low hundreds. I have stepped on the scales and been over 100 kgs at a certain point in my life, but between the age of 14 and 20 I've always averaged in the high 90s, the low hundreds. So I was a big girl. I still am a big girl, but I was a big girl. I feel I'm very dense, like, because I am quite fairly short. I'm like 5'4", 5'5", 5'4", like about that. So I am a smaller girl, so I am quite broad, so that's where I carry my weight. And my average dress size is a UK16 very confidently, but a lot of the times for bottoms I had to go in, or tighter fitting clothes, I had to go to the size 18. And like I said, of course, I've always been very curvy and the broad, but my weight, I really feel like I've always been heavier than I should have been. I know that sounds crazy, but it was just, I feel like I shouldn't be this weight. I feel like the way I look, I should be lighter, but I'm quite dense as a person. It's really weird. That was my average, is that I've always been UK16, 16, 18, but now I've managed to lose 26 kgs from the low hundreds of being about, I think 108 is my maximum I've been, 108 kgs, and now I am, I think last time I weighed I was 79 kg. So it's a hugely dramatic thing for me, and this video is like, I feel like I had to film it, one for you guys, but two of course for me to look back and to be proud on, and for something for me to always look back and think you cannot default, you cannot go back because you've done it. And I've still got a hell of a journey to go, but I know that I've got to a certain point where it's significant. Just a bit of background, when I was at school, I always had a confidence of steel, which was great. I always wanted to wear certain things, and a lot of the time I'd wear whatever I wanted. It wouldn't hold me back because I had a confidence of steel, but there was a lot of things that I owned who I was, and I did what I wanted, and it didn't hold me back a lot, but it did to a certain point, to the point where I knew that I didn't look good in these things. I may have wanted to wear them and that would have been fine, I could have done it, but I just knew I didn't look good in them. And I think I need to stress as well in this video that this video is about an achievement and something, it's something to be celebrated 100%, but you need to be happy in your body for who you are now, right at this moment, because, it's not all like, you should absolutely have aspirations and goals and be always working towards them, because it's such good character building, it's good for your metabolism, it's good for your motivation, it's good for everything, but you have to be content and happy with how you are now, because you can't just have this mentality that you will be happy when this happens, you will be happy when that happens, because you may never get there. You have to set certain goals and you have to enjoy getting to them. You haven't got to think, once I get to them I'll be happy, because the truth be told, once you get to that goal or anywhere near it, you'll set yourself a goal further away and you'll never ever get to be fully happy. Motivation wise, how this came about, my story I'll tell in a minute, but I found that you have to be mentally prepared. I have in the past tried to lose weight, of course, I'm sure we all have, and had failed diets, failed exercise plans, and you're really motivated one minute and the next minute you've gone and your friends are going out for food and you go out for food and you have whatever you want and you're back to square one. So I definitely think motivation is the hardest thing to do, but it is something you can really work on to make it easier for yourself. It's definitely something, when you want to lose weight, you have to be mentally prepared. You have to know that you're not going to be able to have everything you want. It sounds simple, but it really isn't in your head. You have to think, you have to be in a certain place when you really are determined to lose weight, and if you want to lose it fast. I also find that it comes with age as well. I am going to be 21 in a few weeks, and between the ages of 14 and 19 I found that it's harder because you're a teenager. You have less care. You don't see teenagers going to the gym because it's a lot more of a less care factor. You're not supposed to be going to the gym and on fitness plans, and you're supposed to be just enjoying your life, being at school, whatever it is, your education. So it's not something that, I think it's something that comes with age. It's something that comes with experience, and when things happen in your life, it can flick a switch in your head. It's really true, and people say, I've heard that more than once, is that people say it flicks a switch and you can change, and it is very true. There is something mentally that needs to flick. So just going through, I'm gonna have to look at this little page a minute because this has actually got dates in it. So I'm gonna tell you a few ups and downs in my life. Now, I'm not gonna go in for ages, but I'm gonna put in some photos as well so you guys can see. So starting in July 2012, this was when I first weighed myself. I have never been a scale orientated person. I have always gone by looking in the mirror. I've never liked standing on the scales. One, probably because I knew I didn't like what I was gonna see, and two, it's just because I've always thought it's a number, it doesn't matter, it's a number. I have to look in the mirror, and as long as I'm happy, that's it, I'm happy, which is a fine mentality, but it goes to show that you're scared. A certain point in July 2012, I stood on the scales for whatever reason, and I weighed myself, and I was at my biggest I've ever been, and I remember that is when I was at over 100 kgs. I just turned 18, and I was weighing the same, if not, well, weighing the same, if not a little bit heavier than my dad, which at this point made me really upset. I was really, really sad. I couldn't believe that it got to that point, and I didn't feel it was fair that that was my weight, because you are so blinded, because you see yourself every day. I don't even know how to explain it. That was a low point in my life in July 2012. When I was 18. So then coming to Christmas of 2012, so December time, I started going to the gym, and I had a routine when I was at college. So the gym was right next to my college, and I would go about 3 or 4 times a week. I started to understand training and different weight, different exercises, and how actually, you know, running straight for half an hour is just as good as interval training for, you know, 15-20 minutes, where you haven't got to run for half an hour. So it's you know, it's really good, and I started seeing results at this point, but I was still not weighing myself. Then in November 2015, so this is 3 years later, so quite a big of a jump. Through that time I was up and down, but probably averaging in between the biggest and the smallest I'd been at that point. So November 2015 is when I got in a relationship for the first time with my ex. And I think when you get in a relationship, that was my first proper experience, you get so comfortable. Holy crap, the beginning of the relationship, you are always going out for food, you're always staying like in the house, watching telly, you're not being very active, and then as time goes on, you get so comfortable with one another that you, one, don't think about what you're eating or what you're doing, and two, you don't see your body, like you see your body, but because somebody loves you, you don't care. You're so comfortable, and you think, I haven't got to impress anybody, you know, they love me anyway, like what's the point? And I remember we both gained quite a lot of, we gained weight, definitely, both of us. I could see it in him as well, just by being in this relationship, and it can be unhealthy. So that was November of 2015, and it's really, it blinds you with food and you don't see your size at all. Then finally we can go to a up for the last time, and this is of November 2016, so 6 months ago. Well, November 2016 till present. So I had a dramatic diet change due to my breakup with my ex-boyfriend. I think it really sort of shook me, and I knew that my life was going to change, and I wanted to change it for the better. That wasn't the mentality at the time though, I can't say that was. At the time I almost punished myself during the breakup, and I think it sort of bursted a bubble that I was in, and it really shook me. Like I didn't, one, I'm not even going to go into everything else, but I didn't want to speak to people, I didn't want to see my family too much, I just wanted to stay in my shell. Work was so tough because I didn't want to speak to anybody or be interactive with people, and it really shook me as a person. But for a whole week, that first week, I starved myself and I didn't eat anything for pretty much a whole week. I used to survive, and I was working, obviously I work 5 days a week, I'm on my feet all day, so it was very unhealthy because my body needed energy to just be awake. I remember on my breaks from work, I would go up to our staff room and literally lay on the settee and sleep, because I hadn't ate, I had no energy in my body. For lunch I would go to the coffee shop next door and get myself a decaffeinated soya latte, and that's all I'd have for lunch, because I needed the caffeine, or like part of the caffeine that's in decaf, and the feeling of soya milk made me feel full, but obviously it's literally about 10 calories you're getting from that, and I would have that every day, and this was for a whole week. At home I couldn't eat anything, mum and dad would make dinners and I would barely touch it, and I think it was sort of a form of like self-hurt, crazily enough, because I was going through a tough time mentally. This wasn't on purpose, this was a mental factor that would not let me eat. Like I went into these places, I tried to order food, I would look at the sandwiches but I couldn't pick one up because I knew I couldn't eat it. Or I think I did one time and I just like nibbled at it and I thought, I'm gonna be sick if I eat this. It was a horrible time, but that was the first thing that made me start losing weight. So moving on from that To me, it was a small blessing in disguise. I have to tell you, I wish it on nobody. Please do not try and do that to yourself. It's not healthy whatsoever, and I really do not wish it on anybody. But coming out of that bad mental state for a week, it did make me realise that I was eating a lot before. I was having really big portion sizes. I was having the wrong foods, deep fried, lots and lots and lots of saturated fats, not exercising, and it opened my eyes. And because I hadn't ate for a week, my stomach, my physical stomach, had shrunk so much. So when I did eventually force myself to start eating again, I had to have much smaller portions. That was the healthy thing of coming out of this horrible week of this weak mental state, is that I decided that I was going to eat much more raw, healthy foods, and that I needed to have my smaller portions. And I knew that summer was coming as well, and I thought, hell, I'm gonna get my summer body to show him what he's missing. Okay, so that was the little timeline. I might have been throwing some pictures in there as well while I was talking. I'm not too sure how I'm laying this out yet. It might be a little bit all over the place. I hope you're still following. Thumbs up if you still are. So questions into how I helped myself to lose weight. So the first thing I want to say is I have not been to a gym once. This is all through diet and healthy choices. So the first thing I've got here on how is healthy choices. Going into work, we have 3 floors I need to go up, but I usually take the elevator every day. Sometimes I took the stairs. Like, there's just little things that you want to do. On my second break at work, I would take a walk and, you know, see, like, just take a walk instead of sitting upstairs and doing nothing. The other thing that's super important is getting into the routine of things. Like, I was working 5 days a week. I knew that, so I knew I had to have 5 set lunches. You really have to try and motivate yourself. I downloaded pictures of girls, like, before and after, so I could look at those and think that could be me. I find a couple of characters like Scarlett Moffat and what's her name? Imogen Townley from Ibiza Weekender. I find them so motivating. So I've got pictures of them like on my phone, and I have followed them on social media, and they keep me sort of a lot more motivated as well. Another thing I did was totally and utterly minimalize my carbs and maximize my iron. So iron is like dark green vegetables. I would always have like just a bowl of vegetables, lots of tasty things, and trying to find out new meals. I'm not a chef by any means. I don't know how to cook, so it's all been sort of self-taught, but I have got photos of food at the end that I'll show you anyway. Actually, that's the next thing we're going into. For the food, dark green vegetables, minimal sauces and seasonings, because that's where your fat is, light oil / fat alternatives. So instead of having like olive oil, I'd have fry light because it's like a calorie spray. Substitute meat. Meat's not a big deal, but for me, I just wanted to cut it out because it was heavy on my stomach. So I would substitute meat now and again and have like corn chicken and corn mince instead of having actual mince meat. Cutting heavy carbs and salts. Forget pasta, forget rice, and forget adding extra salt. I love salt, so it was really hard for me, but salt obviously retains water, and water retains weight, so that's why I've tried to cutting out my salts. Obviously drinking more water in case you are taking in salts, because we take salts in anyway and everything, but we don't want to retain that water. It sort of just constantly keeps you healthy and sort of flushed. Carb alternatives were what I lived on because I love my carbs, but I couldn't really have them because I wasn't using the energy as much. So I'd be having like cauliflower rice and butternut squash spaghetti and things like that, or noodles, and having a lot of eggs to substitute the protein as well, because I love eggs, but poaching them is fine, and having like a couple a day is absolutely fine too, because they do have calories, but they're fine. I also had a lot of soup. I was living off of soup as well because I found that a lot lighter on the stomach and just made me feel better. And my final tips. So prepare your own meals. This way you can control what goes into your meals, how many calories you're having, what is organic and what's not, etc. 2, take photos of yourself. Lots of photos, great, it keeps your progress up. You haven't got to show them to anybody, just keep them for yourself, and once you see the difference, it will be amazing. 3, educate and motivate. So obviously make sure you know what you're doing is the right thing. You don't want to completely cut out carbs because that's unhealthy, and cut out different type of nutritional groups because that is not healthy either. But educate yourself, and also motivate by watching YouTube videos, following health blogs, following health Instagram pages. They really, really help. Know what's a treat. Now, treats are still so important. You need to make sure you treat yourself, but when you have a treat, make sure you have it and you enjoy it. Get people around you to help you. Now, if you are like me and live at home with your parents, make sure your parents know that you're on this mission, and make sure that they're there to tell you, no, why are you having that? It helps you help yourself. Just do it. If you're in a household where people are cooking bad food, you've always got biscuits in the fridge, it's temptations you do not need. So make it clear that you're doing this, and everyone else around you, if they love you, they should help you. Photograph your meals. The only reason I say this is because it's so you can look back onto these photos and know what to cook. I do that sometimes. Like, I look back at my phone, I'm like, oh, I forgot I cooked that. That was really nice, and I'll do it again. Be calorie, carb and salt conscious. If nothing else, out of those three, make sure you know how much you're taking in, because some foods have got incredible amounts of salt that you would never know are in there. Vice versa with the carbs, of course, as well, and the calories too. Some things are just insane for what they are. If you're gonna have carbs at all in your day, which of course you should, make it be breakfast, because then you're actually gonna use the energy from the carb rather than it turning into sugars and then storing it as fat. Of course, make sure you have lots of water. This is an easy one. It's just an easy one, but the one that I struggle with the most. I don't know about you, but I struggle drinking water. And finally, get a routine. This is the biggest thing that will help you. Once you've got a routine and once you get into it, this helps you so much that you just know where you stand, you know when you can have a treat, you know when you gotta be strict, and it just makes it generally more organized. So guys, that was it for my weight loss video. I feel like it's been all over the place. Hopefully I've edited it to the point where I've cut out, my ums and whatever, so it's all a bit more fluent. But if you have any questions about how I've come about this, then please do let me know. That is Callum giving me a ring because I'm supposed to pick him up. I was supposed to pick him up 10 minutes ago, and yeah, I better go. So hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Obviously, any questions, leave it down below or tweet me at my Twitter, which is all on the screen now, and I will see you all in my next video. Ciao guys, stay beautiful.